Hi, art teacher here with you again, and this is part 2 of that symmetry lesson that we started with last time. I'm going to review that real quick and then go over how to do crayon resist on symmetry. Now, do your favorites, your subscriptions, all that regular YouTube stuff, and let's get right to this. Now, we did a little lesson, and you should remember if you've been watching, where you did symmetry, bilateral symmetry, same on one side as the other, like a mirror image. And here's a heart and a butterfly, where I did that graphite transfer method with that. So you draw it on one side, fold it in half, draw it on one side, trace through from the back. It leaves a light impression on this side, then darken it in. So you can go back and look at that video and give a try. And that's how you started off like that. Anyway, I took the drawing that I did for that video, and here's what I did. I went on top of those pencil lines with crayon. I didn't color it in. Here I colored in a color wheel. That's a different thing. In this case, I just traced on top of the pencil lines. So, let me give you an idea of how to do that. If I trace on top of the pencil lines with crayon, on this one, it would simply be a matter of going right on top of them. And that's what I'm doing now. That should just take me about 1 minute or even less. So, you trace on top of them, and here's one thing to keep in mind when you trace on top of them. The color idea I'm using, when I traced on top of that, analogous colors. I mentioned that in an earlier video. Remember, those are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like yellow and orange, or in this case, red and purple. Red and purple are next to each other on the color wheel. I call them next door neighbor colors. Easier to remember. Or you can call them analogous colors. That's the same idea. So there I used analogous colors. And when I do my painting on top of the crayon, remember this is crayon resist. That's where you use watercolor paint on top of crayon. I did a whole video about that. It's easy to find on my YouTube page. You might want to look at that. So, what I'm going to do is paint on top of this and use complementary colors. And again, I've got another video about complementary colors too. Those are opposite colors. Analogous are next door neighbor colors, like red and purple. Complementary are opposites, like red and green, or purple and yellow. Those are complementary colors. So, I have red here. So, the complement of red is green. So, one of the colors I'll use for paint is green. Then I have purple here. Well, the complement of purple, right across the street there, is yellow. So, it looks as though I'll be using yellow and green, because they're opposite of purple and yellow. So, let's go ahead and get started with those complementary colors. I'll go ahead and get some green on my brush. And I can color in these red shapes with green. So I'm using the complementary color of those red shapes. Oh, there we go. I have one of them. Now let's go ahead and do a couple more. Now remember, when you're using watercolor, the more water that you add, the lighter the color will be. The more you swish the brush around in the paint, never push it down hard like that, because that'll mess up your brush. Swish it around gently. If you want a darker color, swish it around for a little more time. And then you'll get more paint in the water paint mixture. So I'm just painting in a few of these red shapes, and I'm coloring them in with their complementary color, which is green. Now I'm going to hit some of the yellow ones. So I want to clean my brush completely. Yellow's a little tricky, so I'm going to make sure that that yellow paint is nice and clean. So I'm going to take a little paper towel and clean out that yellow. There it goes. So get a little water on it, swish it around gently for a while there. Don't push down hard on that brush, just swish it around gently. Now I'm going to take this yellow and start coloring in some of the purple shapes. And those again are going to be the complementary colors. So let's get a couple of those here. Oh, there's one. Purple and yellow. Purple and yellow, complementary colors. Let's do one more of those. Do one more of those with that nice clean yellow. I like to use that paper towel to clean it out first. I'll do this one up here. What's nice is the paint will not stick to the crayon. The paint won't stick to the crayon because the crayon is made out of wax. So I'll go ahead and get that done. There we go. And I would continue like that till I did the whole thing with the complementary colors. Then I would have a symmetrical drawing using Crayon Resist. And in addition to that, I'm using a couple of the color ideas that we've talked about, analogous colors and complementary colors, and I've done whole videos on all those things. Did a video on Crayon Resist, did a video on analogous colors, done a video on complementary colors, and also I did a video with the symmetry. So you might want to go back and review those, but I bring in a lot of those things together in this one project. Okay. Give this one a try. All you need is a little paint set with a brush. They're inexpensive at any store. A little thing of water, some crayons, and the paper. Okay, you take care. Have a good one.